Sack Life Beat Depression is day 868 and I feel great. And today we're going to keep it that way with another somatic healing session to wipe out depression. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here now. Anyone who's tuning in later, as you know, it's a martial arts for mental health show, and we like to focus in on those mental health tools first. One of the first and foremost tools that we use every single day is that powerful tool of gratitude. The more we use it, the more powerful it can become in our lives, helping us find those silver linings even when we're going through difficult times. So today I want to feature in my gratitude section the Hope to Courage movement and everybody who has been contributing to that 21 days of gratitude movement that they've got going on right now. This is part of that 21 days of gratitude movement program, that 21 days initiative. So at the end of our 21 days together, we will have shared a free program that will empower you with a little bit of each of all 8 limbs in the art of 8 limbs of Muay Thai. We'll be empowering you with multiple mental health tools: breathwork, visualization, positive thought framework, positive affirmations, positive inquisitions, hopefully providing you with something that you can use, something that resonates with you. And remember, it's important to find the tools that work for you as an individual. There's not one way forwards for everybody. We've got to find what works for us. So we're going to try and share as many of those as possible through this movement. And at the end, we'll have a nice little short 21-day program that anybody can pick up at any time and kind of take themselves through that art of 8 limbs, give themselves a lot of different ways to fight forwards and make progress in their lives. So if you're tuning in late or you just got here, this is the first time you're hearing about it, you can go back to day 1 on Sack Life Daily on YouTube, pick out right there, and you'll have everything you need to follow along and continue fighting forwards for yourself and for those around you. So that's my gratitude section. Also want to shout out to the first one in, Tiny Angel. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Also want to shout out gratitude to everybody else who's going to be tuning in later, now or later, anybody who's been supporting the cause and helping us share free mental health tools. It's so important that we do share what works for us. That way other people can find their ways forwards as well. So that being said, that's our gratitude tool. Go ahead and think about something that you're grateful for today, and that'll help start to put you in that positive mindset as we move forwards into the lesson. Second mental health tool we're going to talk about, which we cover every single day. Hey there, Angie. I see you. Which we cover every single day, is that progress tracking tool. It's been 868 days of consecutive goal accomplishment. 868 days forwards for me, the Sack Man. Let me know how many days it's been for you. If you got a number out there, share it. It's a great way to inspire one another. And that number can be incredibly powerful in your life. It serves multiple purposes. This number is meant to be your daily goal accomplishment. So even if it's not this show, even if it's something else that you do for yourself each day, it can be something small, even as small as making the bed in the morning. If you start to keep track of the fact that you accomplish that daily goal each and every single day, especially if you are dealing with depression or anxiety, slowly you'll be able to find the truth that you are stronger than those debilitating effects of depression, because as a matter of fact, you've gotten up and you accomplished that goal, even in the face of that illness, even in the face of that mental health struggle. And make no mistake, it is a serious struggle. Depression leads to suicidal ideation, and a lot of people don't make it. It is a life-threatening disease. So any day that you spend alive, any day that you spend accomplishing a goal, is something that you should give yourself credit for, because it is a sign of strength and endurance. The more you keep track of that number, the more powerful it will become, building up more self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-validation, which are things that not even the lies or temporary thoughts and feelings that we get from depression or anxiety can take away from us, because we're able to give it to ourselves. This number for me has also let me know it's been 868 days since I've been debilitated, and 868 days since I've had a single thought of suicidal ideation, which is something I was struggling with pretty badly in my critical time. So please do keep track of that number for you and see how it can be more powerful as you continue to build up that confidence, self-esteem, self-validation, and track that progress forwards. All right, that being said, we covered the gratitude tool. We covered the progress tracking tool. Now we're going to get into today's lesson. We did cover the Muay Thai stance several times over the beginning couple of courses. in this class. So if you're not familiar with it, remember there are stance guides available on saclifeofficial.com. They can have you prepared for future classes for all the stances, how to position yourself, how to position your body weight. We'll give you a brief breakdown very quickly, and then we're going to get into the new tools we're going to be sharing today. So from a squared balanced stance, go ahead and visualize your opponent in front of you, square hips, square shoulders, and think about a box on the floor, a square on the floor. What we're going to do from here is our dominant hand's going to stay in the back. That's where our rear leg is. We're going to step forwards, visualizing that box. We're going to step forwards with the lead hand and place the foot in the top corner of that box. Ball of the foot in the top corner there, ball of the back foot in the back corner there, head dead centered. We're nice and balanced. We're step forward. We want to bring the hands up to the brow line, close the fingers, tuck the thumbs, tuck the chin, curl the shoulders, curl the hips, bend the knees, and start shifting that weight from the front foot to the back foot. Now we want to keep the knees bent and keep the heels loose, lightly lifted off the ground. That's going to allow us to rotate in to our striking patterns and make effective use of all those tools that we're sharing. And that is it. That's your quick 10-second Muay Thai stance guide. Shout out as well to EMZ, CBJJ. Thank you so much for the support. Appreciate you. So we covered the stance guide, we covered gratitude, covered the progress tracking. Now let's talk about today's lesson. We're going to be adding in, like I said, those new tools, the elbow strikes. So today we're going to learn some basic elbows, the round elbow strike. If you've been following with us, you know that we rotate through the hips and shoulders when we're firing that jab, the cross, the hook, and even the uppercut. We're still rotating through the hips and shoulders. It's going to be no different for the elbow strike. We're going to generate power not by swinging our arms, but by rotating our body and staying balanced, staying in proper form, staying in that Muay Thai stance is where we're going to be able to use that sweet science and tap into the power, that potential that's locked in our body through movement. So I'll break down those elbow strikes very briefly with you right here from your Muay Thai stance. Visualize that opponent. And what we're going to do is from here, we're going to drop the lead hand, starting with the rear round elbow. We're going to drop the lead hand down here, bringing the elbow as close as we can, not the elbow, bringing the wrist as close as we can to the chest here, making the elbow nice and sharp, nice and pointy. And then what we're going to do is rotate, again, on the ball of that front foot. We're going to turn through the foot, through the hips, through the shoulders, and that's going to bring that elbow around nice and sharp right across that line. Right across the center, keeping the guard high on the opposite side. Rotate back to your balanced stance, back to defensive position. Of course, always centering hips and shoulders after each combo or strike, back in your balanced position. So for the lead elbow strike, very basic. Take that lead hand, drop it down to the chest, bringing the wrist very close to the chest, and then turn through. Whoosh. As you turn through the hips and shoulders, that elbow comes around. Many areas you can improve here is tucking that chin, rolling the shoulder up for added defense, and getting that elbow to come across right where you want it. Different targets, different goals. You can go for the temple, for the knockout, for the chin, for the nose, across the forehead if you want to slice it open, get blood in their eyes if you're dealing with a sparring or a self-defense situation. But for the sake of the heavy bag, elbows are not ideal to practice on the heavy bag. What they're going to turn into is forearm smashes. We're going to connect here on this part of the forearm with the elbow. When we're working that bag, we can build muscle memory, form, technique, power. But we're not practicing proper elbow. Proper elbow, we want to get that sharp, pointy part of the elbow to just slice across the face of that visualized target. So shadow boxing is a good way to practice with that. And also the Bob technical training dummy, great way to practice elbows. But heavy bag, not so much. Heavy bag has its pros and cons. Like I said, you can build power in it, make it a devastating elbow strike. But ideal elbow practice is going to come with Bob or with a double-ended bag. One of those floating ones, moves around on two bands. Great tool to practice proper elbows. Shout out as well to Brian HC. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. So from our Muay Thai stance, we talked about that lead round elbow, dropping that lead hand close. Wrist comes close to the shoulder. We've got those shoulders rolled, right? Guard stays high, and we rotate through on the ball of that front foot. One other thing you want to make note of with the elbow strikes is they're very close range attacks. So we're going to want to get into that close range, into that danger zone when we're tossing that elbow. And after we use the elbow, we're going to get back out of that danger zone. So practice with that lead elbow, taking a step forwards, boom, and landing as you turn through the hips and shoulders, right across the lead. Right across the face of that depression dummy. Visualizing that target, slicing across the face, knocking those lies out, and then rotate back to squared stance. Now, rear elbow strike is going to be almost the same thing. We're going to drop the rear hand, Wrist comes close to the shoulder, as close as possible. Is going to make that elbow nice and pointy. And then we're going to rotate on the ball of the rear foot this time. Twisting through the hips and shoulders is going to bring that elbow around. And we're going to keep the guard high on the lead hand. Back to stance, square it up. Lead elbow strike. Back to stance, rear elbow strike. Back to stance. Now the goal here is don't lean in to it, right? We want to keep that torso upright, nice and straight, and just use rotation to generate power and speed through those elbow strikes, and really think about proper form and balance. Shout out to Slayer Ken for being here and sharing your progress at 476 days of consecutive progress. You're crushing it, brother. Good stuff. Thank you for being an inspiration. Sharing that progress tracking tool is a great way we can inspire one another. All right, so we broke down those 2 elbow strikes. We're going to get into our standard rounds. 3 rounds, 3 minutes each, 1 minute breaks to catch your breath, drink some water. Remember to visualize that opponent, visualize striking accurately on that opponent, and assign it the name of the thing you want to work on. If it's depression or anxiety, make it the depression dummy. And remember, you are knocking out that debilitation. You're knocking out those lies that depression tries to tell you what you can't do. Every day that you get up and you fight forwards for yourself, you show yourself how powerful you are. Shout out to Mira Waite, jump rope superstar. Appreciate you all the way from Germany. Thank you for being here. Love you, Mira. You're the best. Super cool. Check her out if you're into jump roping. She's doing a weight rope challenge right now. Tons of cool physical activities. Get you moving. Find those other ways that you can somatically heal. Remember, we got to find those roads that work for us. The bag and martial arts is mine, but for Mira, clearly, it's jumping that rope. Becoming a superstar in the jump rope scene. All right, so that is it. We're going to have our 80s fighting spirit coming through the boom box, and we're going to get right in. Make sure you've got water, and you're breathing in the nose and out the mouth, and we're going to get this thing going before the sun goes down, and I freeze to death. Here we go. Bang. Let's do it. Visualize that opponent. Square up with them. And we're going to start with the fundamentals that we've been practicing the last couple of days. I'm only going to use things that we've shared through the Hope to Courage movement in this 21 day of gratitude movement. So let's start with the jab. Rotate through to the cross and then square back up. Get your movement in there if you're advanced. If you're a beginner, stay in your centered, balanced Muay Thai position here. Just nice and rooted, nice and balanced. Twist through for the jab, rotate back. Start advancing. Step forwards and twist through for the jab, rotate back. Visualize that opponent. Turning the fist over, landing on large 2 knuckles, and then back. Add in the cross. Right down that center line, chin tucked. Keep it balanced, keep it focused. And when you turn through the body, keep looking at that target, right? Let the shoulder come up, meeting the chin there. Keep the guard high and fire down the line. Don't turn away. Don't look away from your opponent. Don't look away from that target. Keep focused on them and drive those shots right down the center line. Jab and cross. Now we're going to add in that lead elbow. Starting in isolation from a nice stationary standpoint. Rotate through on the ball of the lead foot. Keeping the guard high on the opposite hand. And rotate back. Bringing that elbow around nice and sharp. Hit him with the 1-2. Wuss, wuss. Exhaling on those strikes. And then add in the elbows. Boom. And bring it back to square. Guard tight. Chin tucked. Shoulders rolled here. Shoulders are important for defense when tossing those elbows. Let's start working on stepping in. Remember when you're tossing the jab and you're stepping in, you want the jab to land right as the foot lands, right? Nice straight punch. Rotate through for the cross. Let that rear foot come forward. And then back to stance. Step in for the jab. Rotate for the cross. Whoosh. And then back to stance, right down that center line. Now we're going to use that same step-in principle, but we're going to rotate through and toss the elbow. So it's going to get us into that danger zone where we can land that strike. Visualize that opponent, and let's do an advancing elbow strike here. Boom. Stepping forwards. We're pushing off that rear foot as well to cover some distance. Get even closer. Mechanics stay the same. Up top. Shoulders rotate. Boom. Hips rotate, boom. And you can even turn on the ball of that foot. Wuss. Put more rotation and power in it. Bring the elbow around nice and sharp by bringing the wrist very close to the chest. And then back to square stance. Hit him with the 1-2. Now step in for the elbow strike. When the step forwards, pushing off the rear foot. Boom. Turning through and slicing across the face of that visualized target with the elbow. Back out. Let's go. Start working those other tools in. And building your creative flow here. Remember, it's all about your self-care routine. It's about what you can do for you So use those other tools. We got almost a week of hands out there for free for you guys. Step in and add the elbow. Whoosh. And back. As you get better with the balance, whoosh, you can increase the speed on that elbow strike, but make sure you're thinking defense and offense at the same time. Whoosh. And back. That's the end of round one. Catch your breath, drink some water, check in on you. Shout out to Master Checo and Shawnee Boy. Thanks for being here. Zach Life, that's what it's all about. Hey! Congrats on 868 days there. Zach, man, appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support, guys and girls. We got 41 seconds before the next round, and we're going to start adding in that rear elbow strike into our flow-based routine. Remember, the goal is to give yourself a challenge wherever you're at. This is about you challenging you to your skill level so you can continue to grow. You can give yourself a challenge with the intensity or the complexity of the exercise, as long as you're challenging yourself and not pushing too hard. Avoid those signs of overreaching. Dizziness, nauseousness, lightheadedness. All signs you need to take that intensity back. And remember to breathe through those strikes. Exhale out the mouth with the punches. Exhale with the elbow strikes, with the hooks, with everything. Always exhale through those strikes, inhaling through the nose in between. All right, let's get back into it. We're going to add the rear elbow strike this time. And we're going to start with isolation without the step forwards. We're going to rotate on the ball of the rear foot, dropping that rear hand back to the chest here, making the elbow nice and sharp. Keep the guard high in the front hand and bring that elbow across. Turning on the ball of the rear foot through the hips and shoulders. We're slicing across the face with that rear elbow strike. Back to stance, guard tight. Let's go, rear elbow strike here. Boom, and back, rear elbow strike again. And back, rear elbow strike again. And back. Notice the ankle rolling, right? That's because I have the bend in the knees. Keep the ankle raised off the ground. And boom, elbow strike. Now we're going to add the step forwards in because, again, those elbows are close range attacks. So what we want to do is leap forwards. Small leap, pushing off that rear foot. And the rest is the same. The rotation is still the same, right? So if I'm staying here, my balanced Muay Thai stance, rotating, boom, same rotation. Through the hips, through the shoulders, keeping the shoulder rolled for added defense, keeping the guard tight here, and rotate back when we're making it an advancing move. Boom, same thing. Guard tight, guard high, advance forward for that rear elbow strike. Boom, and back. Back to stance. Let's put them together. Let's add those two elbow strikes we just learned into our creative flow and keep visualizing. If you're advanced, work movement in there and work on those tools that you enjoy. Hit that opponent. Visualize making contact and add in the elbows. Lead elbow. Whoosh. And then rear elbow. Whoosh. Right from there. Let's double them up. Lead elbow is going to be an advancing strike. Boom. Right across from here. We're going to swap the guard. Replacing that lead hand with the rear hand. We're bringing the rear hand down to the chest. Lead hand goes up to defend. And now rotate on the ball of the back foot. Woof. Okay, now we've got a nice double elbow strike. Back to stance. Let's work them. Work them in. Visualize that opponent. Proper form, proper balance. Chin tucked. Let's add in those elbow strikes. Lead elbow, bang. From here, swap the hands. Rotate. Bang for the rear elbow. A little sink in the knees will help with that rotation as well. Let's do a double elbow strike. Let's go. Bang, 1, 2. Back to stance, guard tight, chin tucked. Double elbows. And back to stance, guard tight. Visualize that opponent, work the head movement in there. In and out. Stay in your balanced stance. Remember, when we're moving, we're not bringing the feet together. We're staying balanced. We're moving as fighters do. That's the end of round 2. Catch your breath, drink some water. Round 3, we're going to be using those elbows at our own discretion. Getting creative with it. And enjoying the process. Remember, it's about you showing up for you, having fun, making it a sustainable routine. The only way I was able to make it to 868 days is because I focused on making it sustainable. That's what we got to do. Don't overwork. You'll need passive days off. Our goal is active recovery days. That way we can improve every single day, learn new techniques, build muscle memory, become more equipped for self-defense, but primarily build ourselves up, build up that mental resiliency that we get from becoming more capable in life of handling that stress. 10 seconds. Woo. For this final round, let's drill a couple of successive elbows just in isolation, just to kind of get that movement, that balance going. So what we're going to do here, without the step in, drop the lead hand, drive the elbow across. Think about the defense too, right? Tuck the chin, roll the shoulder. Guard stays high on the opposite side. Swap the hands and rotate through for the opposite elbow. Front elbow, rear elbow. Back to square. Squared shoulders, squared hips. Guard nice and tight, nice and balanced. Double elbow strike here. No step in. Boom. 1, 2. Practice dropping the hand on the lead and then rotate, swapping hands for the rear. Back to stance. 1, 2. Boom. Back to stance. 1, 2. Back to stance. 1, 2. Work those elbow strikes in. And now, get creative with it. Flow with it. Work those punches. Think about your distance, right? You got long range cross. You got shorter range hooks and even shorter range elbow. Start to put them together. Think about what links to what moves feed each other. And visualize. Stepping forward and driving those elbows in. Work with those tools you've got. And back. Back to stance. Build your own creative combos out here, right? We're empowering one another with tools, not enabling one another to rely on the routine. Make your own creative flow. Let's go. Give yourself a challenge. You deserve what you give, so give it 100%. Let's go. Turn those fists over. Drive your intensity. The volume of those strikes. The pace of those strikes, that's all moderatable by you. So work, show up for you at your skill level. Let's go. And back, double elbow strikes. Think about how you can improve with each one. Rotating through, think about what movement. Maybe a step to the side, little pivot elbow action there. And rotate back. Keep going. Give yourself the challenge. We're not competing with each other, we're competing with ourselves. Exhale. And work those elbows. Back to stance. Back to stance. Focus balance, right? Don't lean off. You're gonna find out if you're off balance as you go and continue to flow. A little bonus elbow action in there. After you swipe across for the round, you can reach deep and then pull the hand back out. A little bonus elbow pop action there. Keep it moving. Let's go. 10 seconds. Push to your levels. Work those elbows. Hey. And that is the end of round 3 of our somatic healing session to wipe out depression today. We covered gratitude tool, progress tracking tool, visualization, positive thought focus, physical movement as medicine, and we got that high intensity if we gave ourselves a challenge. We got that high intensity cardio in, which pumps that stress hormone cortisol, but in a healthy direction. Remember, if you stick to the routine with consistency and dedication, you can condition your mind to handle that high intensity stress hormone cortisol in a positive way, in a way that your brain associates with progress and success every day instead of panic and stress. So keep at it, stick to it, keep moving forwards, show up for you, keep putting in the work, make that progress, and find those tools that work for you. Add them to your toolkit and give yourself that best fighting chance forward towards better mental health. Until next time, I will catch you guys and girls, same exact time, same exact channel, same exact life. Sack man out.